All right, shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. This is a video that I really did not want to have to do. And the title of the video is We Are in Trouble. We have just started at the end, right? The beginning of the end. So I don't know if you all have been following the news. We knew it was coming, right? We knew this pandemic had taken a toll on the economy, and the politics has gotten involved. And so now we have the president making a declaration, mandatory vaccinations. Now, why do I say we're in trouble? Because everybody's not going to comply. The system financially is going to go bankrupt. Why do you say that? Because let's think about it. The labor force, the manual labor force, is pretty much predominantly predicated on the so-called African Americans, the minorities. And the majority of them don't trust the vaccination. And so since they don't trust it, the majority are not going to comply, which means what? The corporations are going to be forced to have to, what's the word y'all use in corporate America? Not reprimand, but I guess it's one of the words. If people don't comply, disciplinary action. Take disciplinary action. So what does that mean? Some people are going to lose their jobs because they're not going to take the vaccination. And what's that going to do for the economy? It's going to put the economy in a predicament because they're going to be short-staffed, because some people don't, like I said, don't believe in the vaccination, whether it be for religious or spiritual purposes, or whether it be just because they just don't believe in it. So corporations like Walmart are going to get hit big because the predominant labor force of Walmart is so-called African Americans and minorities, Latinos, right? Am I right? So they're the ones that's going to not comply, right? Now, you're going to have some higher end so-called African Americans that's going to go ahead and get the vaccination because, you know, I mean, you got a mortgage to pay, car note to pay, and all of that. And this is all the only thing that's holding you back from being able to pay your bills. That portion of people are going to get the vaccination. So what's going to happen is, and I'm not prophesying, I'm just basically giving you my prognosis of, as far as to what I see, how this is going to impact. So either one of two things is going to happen, right? The president is going to have to recant his mandatory vaccination and try to come up with another solution, or he's going to hold his guns, and it's going to cause the nation to go bankrupt, because you're going to have short staff, you're going to have demand of supplies, and you're going to have not enough workforce to meet those demands. And generally, when you have more demand, when you talk about Revelation, right, it talks about prices go up. When there's great demand and there's less supply, the prices go up. And that's what Revelation talks about, right? So that's where we're headed. So this declaration of mandatory vaccination is going to take an impact. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but I'm just telling you a fact, right? Statement of a fact, right? So what does that mean for us as people, as citizens of this nation? You can try to flee out the nation, flee out the country and go to another country, but there's a catch with that. Now, I'm not sure if they kicked it in unless you illegally leave the nation, leave the country. For you to get out, if you don't have a passport, the vaccination, mandatory vaccination to get out the nation, to get out the country. So what's going to happen in that particular regard is a lot of people are going to actually leave the country. They're going to sneak out in whatever way they can sneak out to other nations. So a lot of people are going to go AWOL. And that's what I see happening. So for America, we're going to get hit big, because what Biden is saying is that he's saying companies over 100 employees, which is most companies in the United States. So the question is, are they going to comply with his mandate? And if they don't comply, what is the repercussions in terms of what the government? Are they going to impose sanctions or fines or whatever on corporations that don't comply with the mandate from the president? So that's where we're headed. So this is, I mean, brothers and sisters, it's not a coincidence that this has happened during the time of the end of the year feast. So if you need something to pray for the upcoming Day of Atonement, that's what you need to pray about. Pray and ask Yah to intervene. Now, I will tell you what the word says. The word says that he said, the Most High said that if I don't shorten the days, right, there would be no flesh saved. So we already know the end. Now, for those of us who are committed to the truth, and we know what the truth says, we're not fearful. As Shaul said, what can separate me from the love of Yah? Shall tribulation, peril, sword? He says in all these things, we are more than conquerors. So what we are facing is the last days, the days, and the Most High is not playing. And that's what most people don't get. Politicians don't get it. Certainly the evangelical Christians don't get it. And what is it that they don't get? That the Most High said through all the prophets, and the Messiah said it himself in the last days, that there will be pestilences. But we want to attribute the pestilences to the left or to the New World Order. So from whatever source it came from, the reality of the matter is the Most High said it was going to come. And that these will be the beginning of sorrows, right? So we're here. Question to you is, what are you going to do? Right? Now, I'm not telling you that the V is the mark of the beast. As a matter of fact, I totally disagree 100%. But most people are not going to take the V because of the ingredients or how the V was processed. So now, for the government agencies, I just got word from someone who works for the government that many of them had submitted what do you call it? Not affidavits, but they submitted denial of taking the V because of religious reasons. So those that work for the government, from what I got from the government employee, is that Biden says we're not having it. You work for the government, so you're going to have to comply with the government. So what Biden is actually doing is he's enforcing separation of church and state. Now, if you work for a non-government organization, you might be able to submit to your job that protective order or affidavit or whatever you want to call it from your religious organization to state that the ingredients in the vaccination goes against your religion. So those that work with small corporations like that, you stand a better chance to maintain your job, but then they still will have criteria because they're making it mandatory for you to be tested on a week-to-week basis. Now, at some point, they're going to start charging people to be tested. Right now, the testing is free, but at some point, the cost of it is going to become substantial to corporations, and they're going to start trying to force you to get vaccination. So they're going to test you each week, and then eventually they're going to make you have to pay for, whether it be through your medical benefits or whether the medical benefits doesn't cover it or not. I'm not sure how they're going to regulate that, but it's something that we have to put on our altar for prayer, is that those of us that have assets and that still have a note on those assets, we're going to be put in a position to where we're going to have to either make a decision to comply or to just let them have the things that we have and to go and try to live off of what we already own. That's what it stands. So now a little word of advice for those of you that see this. Now you come to the point now where the people that make the 501c3 organizations demonic, you might not think that 501c3 people are as demonic now, because if you have a 501c3 or your organization, or you have a tax exemption, because that's really what 501c3 is about. It's about tax exemption more than getting money from the government. So 501c3 is deeper than just you getting grants from the government. 501c3 is when you become exempt from taxes. In other words, you can take your personal properties and put it in a non-taxable or tax exempt or not-for-profit or non-profit organization where you don't owe any taxes to your county or to your state or whatever the case be, and you can't lose your property to taxes because you put it in a non-profit organization. Okay? So that's the benefit of 501c3. If you got any questions about 501c3, ask me. I'll tell you, right? Because most people have demonized people that have 501c3. You got 501c3. You sold your soul to the devil. No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I've had a 501c3 since 1997. And this is what? This is 2021. How many years is that? 97, 17, that's 20. 18, 19, 20, 21. So that's 14 years. 14 years that I had. Did I say that right? 97, 2007, 2017 is 20. 24 years. I've had 501c3 for 24 years. I've been doing videos on YouTube and speaking against Christianity, speaking against the Catholic Church, speaking against wickedness, and nobody has taken me to jail. Okay? So you having a 501c3 does not make you does not make you a demon. It does not make you sold your soul to the devil. Now, if you get money from the government, they're going to dictate to you what you can and cannot do. I've never received, in my 24 years of my 501c3, I've never received a dime from the government. They have never told me what to teach, preach, say, how to live, the whole 9 yards. I've done, sent letters to people's jobs when the SARS came out, right? So now we got this mandate coming now. Some of you going to want a letter to send to your job to tell them that you're not taking the vaccination, right? So if you send me $100, no, I'm kidding. See, that's how you know I'm not about money, because I have the power to send a letter to your job. If you have a job that's not a government job, and send a letter to your job to say that because you are a part of the Hebraic covenant, that it goes against your religious views to take the vaccination on the basis of what's included in, because they can't force you to take the vaccination, and they can't fire you for religious purposes. So you got a legal situation there, right? So now if you work for the government, that's different. The government can do what they want to do with their employees because it's government. But you work for a private company, and you say, based on my religion, I can't take this vaccination, they can't fire you. If they fire you, you're gonna have a settlement, and you will be able to get paid, and you will get paid for life. That's straight up. So don't fall for the Mickey and the drink. Now, you're going to find a lot of people is going to be reaching out to people like me saying, can you send me a letter to my job because I can't take for religious purposes? I'm going to say no. First thing I'm going to say, if you send me a letter, I'm going to ask you, what covenant are you a part of? You tell me you the New Covenant Testament Church, where you follow the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and the New Covenant. I'm not sending you no letter because you lying. I'm not going to sign nothing. I'm not going to send no letter and sign if you lying. Now, if you keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, which tells us what we can and cannot eat, right? And you request me to send a letter, right? Upon validation, because I'm not going to just send it because somebody sent me an email say, can you send me a letter? I'm not going to send no letter. First off, if I don't know you, I'm very suspect that you send me an email, ask me for a letter for your job. Because I'm going to question everything. If you send me a letter asking me, I'm going to say, who's your more? Because he should be doing the letter for you, right? And so for protection wise, anybody that I know that's practicing the covenant, and if you don't have a particular more, I'm here for you. But if you got a more or you got a pastor, you need to go to your pastor and get your pastor to do your letter or whatever to the government. But that's what's going to come down the pipe. So those that I know you keeping the covenant and you don't have a more or what have you, or you fellowship with us online, send me an email, ask Malachi, or you can send it to morehkabad, MOREH kabad @gmail.com, and we'll make sure you get a letter to send to your employer to get you exempt from taking the vaccination, right? So you won't have to do that. Okay, but once again, I'm gonna repeat myself. Don't be reaching out to me to get no letter because you don't want to take the vaccination. If you're not practicing the covenant, I'm not sending nothing to you. I don't care how much money you send me. I can't be bought, right? Now, those of you that want me to send you a letter to your jobs for your time, for my time, I ask you to send me a donation. It's going to be a reasonable donation. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to charge you, but because I'm putting my time and energy to draw a letter up for you, I expect you to do right by me, right? So it will be legal and you will be able to use it at your job. I've done it with many people, right? So I've been in this walk a long time. I'm old school. I know what needs to be done politically to protect you from your job. Like I said, I remember years ago when SARS came out, and they was making people mandatory to take vaccination. People was reaching out to me, brother, can you send a letter to my job? They want me to take the SARS. I sent letters to people and they was cool. They was protected, right? But I'm not going to send no letter to no job for no COVID-19 exemption if I know you ain't practicing the covenant. You're not going to use a brother like that. Okay? Especially if I don't know you. I'm going to investigate you, find out who you are. Because if I find out that you ain't keeping the covenant, I'm going to point you right back to your pastor. I'm going to tell you, go get with your pastor. Tell your pastor to send you exemption, right? Now, it's kind of interesting how that a lot of Christians, when it comes to, they don't believe in keeping the laws and statutes and commandments as it pertains to clean and unclean foods. But when it comes to something like vaccination, they want a letter because they don't want to take the vaccination. Hypocrite. If you allowed to eat whatever swine and all the stuff that you eat every day, then go ahead and take that vaccination. It ain't gonna kill you. If you eating all that swine and all the scavengers and stuff like that, and you know, and the vaccination got things in it that goes against your religion, or I mean, things in it that you know is not good for you. Just pray over it. You'll be all right. Just like you pray over that pork. Pray over that vaccination while you in that office get that needle shot in your arm. And leave me alone, right? And that's all I got to share. I just wanted to just throw that out there. I want y'all to know we in some serious trouble. These are troubled times, right? Okay. Now, I know some camps that's telling their people, go ahead and take the vaccination. Well, that's up to them, right? But if you follow the laws and statutes and commandments and the laws pertaining to clean and unclean abominations, then you know you're going to stand with us, right? Okay, Yah will take care of you. And you're covered. You might have to have an occupation change because you work for the government and the government's not backing down. Maybe it's time to go start your own produce business or something, or start your daycare or something for the matter, right? But that's all I got. So reach out to a brother if you need prayer. We're here. Send us an email. We'll pray with you. And if you're in an area where there are some people that I know that are what's the word I'm looking for? Righteous. I'll just say that. I'll direct you that direction. I'm not going to direct you to somebody that I don't know is righteous and serving Yah. These lunatic camps that's caught up in all kinds of nonsense, I don't refer people to them. All right. But if you're looking for somebody, looking for somewhere to fellowship, and I look and research in your city, I find somebody, I said, this person, I don't know nothing about them, but I went and visited their website and whatever, saw their YouTube channel, and they seem legit. They're legit. They might have some strange ways in which they conduct their services. Some of them look like Christian Hebrews, whatever, but at least they have a discipline. But these camps that's got all kinds of foul stuff going on and they sucking people's money from them and stuff like that, I don't refer nobody to them. So if you're looking for somewhere to fellowship in your city, I'm not going to refer you to them camps. And you know what camps I'm talking about because I always talk about them all the time. They're making merchandise out of people. So I didn't intend to go this long, but prayerfully you got the message. So during this time of Day of Atonement, it's a time to fast and pray and seek Yah for Him to have mercy on this nation and on the people of Israel. And with that said, I say shalom.